Rui Hachimura was born on February 8, 1998, in Toyama, Japan, to a household that straddled worlds. His mother, Yuko, a dedicated primary school teacher, rooted him in Japanese culture, discipline, and respect. His father, Felix, who hailed from Benin in West Africa and later naturalized as an American, contributed an upright sense of faith and quiet confidence. When Rui first walked the polished halls of his elementary school, eyes caught on the boy with a commanding presence, tall, calm, and observant. Yet, even then, his personality was defined by something deeper than height, a steady devotion to curiosity and craft. Basketball didn't immediately define him. In Toyama's local gyms, Rui bounced a ball simply because it was available. But even those early sessions were marked by repetition, focus, and a joy that didn't scream, but still resonated. Under his father's gentle coaching, young Rui practiced pivot footwork, free throws, and foot drills on clay courts where rain might wash away the lines. His game wasn't flashy. It was quietly precise. As middle school started, Rui transitioned into more structured basketball, joining a local club and eventually Tokyo-based teams for weekend tournaments. His mixed heritage generated curiosity in a relatively homogeneous society. People took notice of his stature, his twin-track fluency in Japanese and basic English, and most importantly, the clarity with which he played. He never needed to announce his presence. His defense spoke. His positioning spoke. His team-first instincts spoke. During high school at Noshiro Technical High, a breeding ground for elite Japanese players, Rui took on the challenge of balancing traditional school rigor with a growing passion for hoops. He turned down modeling opportunities and guest-featured clinic invitations to invest extra hours in the gym. As a junior, he helped lead Noshiro to the Japanese high school basketball championship. Mahogany on hardwood, subtle on camera, he was voted tournament MVP, not because he scored the most, but because he made the most possible. Amid fierce domestic performances, Rui's talent began to cross borders. Scout reports from the US noted his polished jump shot, his ability to stretch the floor, and his defensive versatility, traits rare in international prospects. Offers arrived from top American programs. Still, there were doubts. Was he ready? Would he adapt to life beyond Asia? His response was simple: I want to learn. In 2016, Rui committed to Gonzaga University, a program with a legacy of fostering international stars. His arrival in Spokane marked a seismic shift for both him and Gonzaga. Being Japanese made him unique. Being biracial made him stand out. But the moment he tied his laces before an early morning practice, he was just another freshman, a skilled worker aiming to master new tools. Over the next 2 years, his quiet work ethic became a headline. It wasn't that he spoke loudly about improvement, but that he always improved. By his junior season, Rui became an All-American. He averaged 19 points and nearly 7 rebounds per game, and he elevated Gonzaga into the NCAA tournament spotlight. Yet it was more than stat lines. It was how he carried himself under pressure, the way he inspired teammates who trusted him instinctively. During moments of tension, he remained unflappable, never rapid-tongued, but always effective. The NBA draft in 2019 brought a milestone. Rui Hachimura became the first Japanese-born player to be selected in the first round. The Washington Wizards chose him 9th overall. National attention returned home. Japanese television ran hours of career retrospectives. Streets were decorated with banners. Many waiting, many believing. Rui's rookie seasons in the NBA were a steady fusion of promise and professionalism. Unlike many young players, he didn't rely on camp hype. He relied on solid fundamentals, discipline, and humility. He worked with teammates, took extra film sessions, and was often first to practice. Things didn't come easy, but for him, they didn't need to come fast. He showed flashes of scoring, but more importantly, moments of leadership, offering quiet words in timeouts, staying after practice to help development staff, maintaining old-school focus on nutrition and recovery. At home in Washington, Rui helped expand the Asian American narrative, building representation on and off the court. He visited youth centers in D.C., hosted clinics for Japanese communities in Maryland and Virginia, and spoke at schools about balance, identity, and mindset. He never delivered showy speeches. He reminded children that they deserve space in the spotlight, not by shouting for it, but by earning it through quiet persistence. Internationally, his presence played a significant role in reviving interest in Japanese basketball. From national team call-ups to exhibition games, Rui stood as proof. Asian players are built for elite sports at the highest levels. In 2019, he represented Japan at the FIBA Asia Cup, but the true impact happened quietly, when a young fan, trying dribbles after the game, said, "I want to be like him." By the 2022-23 season, Rui had solidified himself as a core rotation player. He started many games. He posted career highs in points and rebounds. He increasingly took late-game responsibilities. Yet each step forward held a constant theme: quiet progress, daily consistency. He credited coaches for refining his defensive positioning, teammates for helping him study, and his family for keeping his footprint stable. He maintained a humble home life in Maryland, walking neighborhood streets, dropping by local community colleges, taking comfort in matcha lattes made from home-ground tea, and celebrating modest milestone dinners like 10,000 career points with a quiet meal of soba and yakitori. The COVID-19 pandemic added new weight to his story. Barbara lockdowns removed the streets of DC. Rui organized virtual workouts for fans and Japanese youth players. He participated in mental health webinars with non-profit initiatives. Nobody was louder than him, but the impact was felt. He kept the ritual: push-ups at dawn, film at dusk. In summer 2021, he returned to Japan to build training courts near the Toyama Yatsuo facility. Around 1,500 people attended a weekend camp where he stayed late with every player, listening, teaching, laughing. His impact isn't always measured by points per game or milestones scored. Rui's legacy is made in ripple effects. His career helped the Wizards embrace more global marketing strategies. The NBA partnered on a grassroots campaign in Osaka. His jersey sales in Japan skyrocketed. Stores sold crafts from his hometown all over Japan. Posts about Rui Day trended. But amidst the noise, he remained the same, a soft-spoken professional intent on getting better. By 2025, he has already accumulated 5,000 NBA points, multiple international accolades, and above-average rebounds for his position. He's still one of the best two-way stretch forwards in the league, spacing the floor with dependable shooting and intelligent positioning. He's still a nuanced defender, anticipating double teams and rotating help side with poise. His decision-making improved, his patience deepened. When he's on the floor, you see the same player who emerged from Toyama, but sharper, stronger, more assured. He's also become a quiet mentor in the locker room, a reference for international players bridging cultures, a reminder for rookies that video game titles don't matter next to film time, and an example that consistency outlasts talent. His teammates say they trust him, never wondered if he'd buckle under pressure. If he speaks softly during introductions, he plays loudly when lights drop. Off-season, Rui still returns to Toyama to visit his parents and coach community clinics. He plants tea shoots in their backyard shrub rows and reads Japanese classical poetry by lantern light. He doesn't call his success "my dream." He says, "It's ours, my parents, my family, my town." Looking ahead, Rui has chipped away at stereotypes. He represents growth in international basketball and Asian representation in professional sports. He reminds us that authenticity can coexist with ambition, that being quiet doesn't mean being powerless. And with each season, his potential crescendos: deeper leadership, mentoring roles, possibly a future as international ambassador or coach. At 27, he's still near his athletic peak. He's still cementing identity in the NBA while cultivating influence in Asia. He remains the same pillar in his parents' home, the same quiet professional in the locker room, the same diligent student in the gym. But quietly, assuredly, he's changing the game, one measured shot, one calm pass, one silent moment at a time. Rui Hachimura reminds a new generation that greatness doesn't need volume. It needs vision. It needs virtue. And it can speak softly, while echoing around the world. Thank you for journeying through his story with us. For more profiles on athletes who inspire quietly, hit like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember, impact doesn't need to show.